don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express.
Celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7. I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
That's right, folks. Order now. Head over to mypillow.com. Get your Christmas shopping done. Spoil yourself a little bit, but make sure you go after a company that supports your values, which you can find in mypillow.com. Use promo code Oreo. It'll help us here at the platform, and we thank you very much for doing so. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, October 28th, guys. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be getting into from the auto pin scandal. Now they're saying the pardons and, you know, like the Fauci pardons are null and void. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Democrats. They're pulling away food stamps from everybody and trying to blame Trump. That's their big talking point over the last 36 hours. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But let me jump in here and say hello to you guys. JH Candy Bar, hello. Trina, hello. Becky Boo, Kaylee. B. Mikey with that beautiful American flag. Let's see who else we got. Rob Wallace. Let's see. Real sweet. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me get down to the bottom. Texas Bigfoot, Susan K. Spencer, Julius, and Texas Real Woman in the house. Let me jump over here. Tulip61 over there on Twitch. How are you doing, Tulip61? Carol Burton in the house. Yellow Rose, how are you guys doing? Let's see. Let's go back up here. Donna Ralph, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you could do us that big favor, hit that like button, share this out. Let's share some information and some truth today, guys. I'm doing good, Tulip61. I'm doing good. First thing I want to talk about, I don't know if any of you guys watched the World Series last night. Now, it's the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and all the talk was how the Dodgers are just going to walk all over them. The series was tied 1-1 last night. And so me and Caden started watching it in the afternoon, in the evening. We were watching it, checking it out. And, it was tied 5-5 for like ever. What'd they get into? I don't even know anymore. At like 11 o'clock my time, I think it was around 11 o'clock, maybe a little earlier. I put my earbud in I always listen to a podcast when I go to sleep. And man, I woke up this morning and had to figure out who won, but it was the Dodgers. And then when I found out how the Dodgers won, I was like, why didn't they just walk them? They've been walking this guy for like the last 6 innings. And it seemed to be lasting forever. That one of the announcers actually made a joke. He's like, I guess the Washington Commanders was playing Monday Night Football. He goes, those people got done with their Monday Night Football. They're already at home watching the World Series. I mean, it was definitely a long game. Wow. So they won. Dodgers won Game 3. And it finished around midnight, Tulip 61 says. And it was fun to watch, though, because I love when you're in the 9th inning and then you go to extra innings. And it's just, you're like, oh, man. And there was plenty of chances for both teams to score. And it's just like, nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so long game. They got another game tonight. Yes, Karen Sunflower entered into using Give Send Go, got 20 raffle tickets for the cross and one of the amazing hats. And you know what she said? She goes, I think the cross is beautiful. I want the cross, but we can keep the hat to raffle off for another hat or for another raffle. So she's in for the cross, guys. And thank you, everybody who has been helping out with the raffle. We appreciate you. It's an exciting time. Tulip says she's going for the Blue Jays. Toronto, she's going for Toronto. You know what? I hate to go. I'm a California native. I hate to go against the Dodgers. But I just love seeing all the experts wrong when it comes to stuff. In other news, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall. It's in Jamaica. It looks pretty bad. This was from a couple hours ago, but I want you to watch it. Again, anything could happen. But listen to that. It had the winds increased up to 180 miles an hour. Kaylee says, Josh, thanks again for the awesome package. Love the hats. Good deal, Kaylee. I'm glad it got there. I always get nervous when I ship something off. I'm like, man. But yes, I'm glad it got there. I can toss this now. I keep them on my desk until they arrive. So let me show you some of this right here. This was from the Weather Channel, and then we got a little bit of video to talk about. And again, this is Mother Nature's wrath, is what I call it.
All right, guys. Some breaking information as the hurricane hunter. The first pass of their morning travels. The first one, of course, is the Air Force plane that left Curacao. The plane that's coming from the north is the NOAA plane from Lakeland. They have not gotten in there yet. But the news from the United States Air Force as they went through this thing, 893.5 millibars. That's the drop. Okay, remember, we started with the 901 from the 5 a.m. advisory. Didn't change at 8 because we didn't have a plane out there. Now we do. Now we've gotten a drop to 893 millibars. Incredible. That is the 4th lowest pressure on record in the Atlantic Basin right now, as I'm telling you about it. And you saw the wind from the hurricane hunters up around 200 miles an hour. There it is right there. It's actually off the scale. We only go to 200 on our chart here. So absolutely incredible. All right. So now they go out the east side of it, obviously they're going to measure the length of those hurricane force winds. How far out do they extend from the center? And likely the northern part of this kind of inner, not the most inner eye wall, but the kind of this outer eye wall is coming on shore right now. Those are going to be sustained hurricane force winds down near the Black River area and down in toward Jamaica. Absolutely unbelievable sight. The visible imagery is coming in, and Steph pointed this out earlier. When we kind of zoom in here, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can see these striations. They look like eyelashes coming off of this thing. These are gravity waves, and they are almost symmetric coming away from the center. And look at the lightning. This thing is still deepening. It's still intensifying before it comes ashore. Say a lot of prayers for Jamaica, guys. They're going to need it. Here's Black River. Here you can see that sustained hurricane force wind now coming ashore. The 150 to 200 plus mile an hour winds are in this red area. Okay. And you can see that's only That's actually the center is only 22 miles offshore. Veronica, go to the outside of that bright red. I want to see what that is in terms of how close it is. It's probably like 17, miles or so. Well, 10 if you go to the blue ring. All right, so it's not far. We're not far from getting the worst of this coming on shore near Black River here. So, just the blue, the red, this is what we're looking at here. This is all coming ashore. We're talking about winds that are going to be likely sustained over 150 miles an hour. We have 100 here. This I don't think is doing it justice. And then eventually, as we get to lunchtime, Montego Bay from the north and east, 100 plus mile an hour gusts. Incredible. And likely sustained winds, actually, at that. We may gust to 200 in some of these places. And remember, there are mountains in between here. Some of these go up 2, 4, 5,000 feet. And we're going to see, the winds at even a higher rate the higher up you go. What did you say, Veronica? Okay, so they jumped up to 180 with the wind.
So there you have it. Pray for those folks. We got some video that was coming out about an hour ago. I'll put that up on the screen. This is listen to the powerful wind slam Treasure Beach, Jamaica as Hurricane Melissa closes in on the island. Just sounds like it's screaming. And here was a Black River area in Jamaica. This is just a short video. See there? Look over here. Look what is in the vessel. What is in the don't look over. See there? Look at it. These places aren't built. Look over here. Look what is in the vessel. What is in the don't look over. It's not uncommon for Jamaica to see a hurricane and see a lot of what I call tinfoil roofing. Let me see if there's anything else really quick before we move on some new photos. Jamaica. Let's check this out. No, there's not anything. I know there's a lot of people that are there on missions for their church. I did see that, and some of them weren't able to get out. United Cajun Navy has a team down there. It says Hurricane Melissa floodwaters now entering southern Jamaica. Exclusive video from the United Cajun Navy storm.
That is it. That is it. That is it. See that? Now I show them. What? Yeah. Me a come round because I don't know weed or nothing, so me a come look. That is it, I'm not for the Donald. That is it, my people. That is it. That is it. That is it. See that? Now I show them.
So, prayers, and we'll bring you updates. We're going to be doing another show today, our 3 o'clock show, which will be a premium show, by the way, because we're at the end of the month and I have one more show to do for premium. So, if you're on any other platform, make sure you follow us on Rumble at Oreo Express so you can get into the action there. Now, we've talked about moving. I live in Central California, and we talk about the natural disasters places, hurricanes. Like you live in Florida, you get hurricanes, you get tornadoes in a lot of areas. We can get tornadoes here, but our biggest disasters are Democrats here in Central California. That's what does the most destruction. Earthquakes are a little nerve-wracking for some parts of California. Hopefully we're safe here in Central California. We felt some pretty big earthquakes back in the 80s. I remember I was a kid and I think it was Kalinga, and my house rattled. My mom freaked out. She said, she was asking us to get under a table and stuff, but and we feel earthquakes not regularly, but when there's a decent size one. And a couple years ago, I was sitting out in the backyard by my pool, and I started doing this, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look at the pool, and it's just doing this, and watch the ground like roll without. It's crazy watching the ground in your cement roll without cracking. It was one of the most incredible things I've seen. But for the most part, when I tell Rachel, let's move here, when we were thinking about it, like Tennessee, I really liked Tennessee. I like some others. She doesn't want to be too cold. She can't be too cold, like northern Idaho is too cold. And I was like, but we're away from all the libtards. But we'll have to pray for those folks in Jamaica and check it out. Check this out. We're going to play a CNN clip here. We're also going to play Gavin Newsom's crying, like whining and whimpering because he hasn't been on the Joe Rogan podcast. But speaking about Gavin Newsom and California, which I said our biggest disaster here in California, bigger than the big earthquake we had back in, what was it, 89 in San Francisco, is Democrats. Take a look at this right here. It's kind of funny. Look at the face on the left.
I don't know about all that, but I will concede that Gavin Newsom's leadership in California has been a complete and utter disaster. As a Californian, I 100% have experienced he's out to lunch, right? Like he changes his ideology depending on what he thinks is fresh and what's hip at any given moment. 70 crime policies that requires funding. He has been pushing back against adequately funding the efforts to essentially roll back those policies to ensure that people
you're for his more pro-crime strategy. You're for the more pro-crime fighting strategy. Just to be clear.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
good.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's important. So you think it's important to have the investments in fighting crime? Okay. Because
100%. Yes.
Because a big challenge among some of the left has been not supporting that in the past. So you're saying he's not.
They're wrong.
He's not doing enough to fight
I think
crime.
the left wanted prison reform. The left wanted better police training. The left wanted real reforms where people aren't getting shot as they're running away from cops and unarmed. What we got instead is the premature closure of 4 prisons.
Yep.
Gavin Newsom is preparing to shut down the 5th state prison. As a result, the county prisons are full to the brim of inmates, basically. And then what they do is they end up releasing people early because they don't have room for them. So Gavin Newsom, and that's just one of the issues I have with Gavin Newsom. Another issue is $24 billion in California taxpayer money gone. It was supposed to help the homeless. It didn't help the homeless. It got funneled to all these nonprofits.
Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. The homeless crisis. You give Gavin Newsom over $20 billion to fix the homeless crisis, and he'll double that crisis. And that's what we've seen here in California. Perfect example, Prop 36. 76% of California voted for this. That was you want to talk about a referendum on Democrat policies, slapping Gavin Newsom in the face. And guess what? Now he's not funding Prop 36. Which helps rehabilitate, instead of just saying, oh, this is the 4th time you've carjacked somebody and you got another robbery here at a jewelry store. We're just going to release you. Now it says, no, we're not going to release you. You've been a criminal constantly. But what we will do is make sure that you get into jail. And while you're there, we're going to try to rehabilitate you, not let you do the things they do in jail. And that goes right along with this right here is poor Gavin. Listen to him, man. He has been broken by Trump. When you look at these people and you look at the things they say, it's almost like you just want to give them a tissue. Like, cry a little more, Gavin. You have destroyed San Francisco. You have destroyed the state of California. You've not given a crap about American citizens or the taxpayers of this street. Take a listen.
He won't. Look, he hasn't for years and years. He's been attacking me, and it's one way, and he won't have me on. He's consistently not having me.
Talking about Joe Rogan.
Yeah. By the way, I'm moving on. I have no interest.
You're done with him?
Joe Rogan's the Facebook of podcasting. He was sitting across one of the brightest minds in podcasting right now. The guy was in the mic. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people at the mic doing extraordinary things in podcasting.
Joe Rogan's got a pretty big audience still.
You know what? But with all due respect, if he has a big audience but he doesn't have big enough confidence, I didn't go there, to have me on.
Well, you've called him a chicken.
But he's been attacking for. But here's the thing: these guys, they all have something in common. It's one way: they attack, they belittle, they demean, they take things out of context. But this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so often we just sit back and go, "Oh God, I really would love to go on. Oh, if Kamala Harris just went on Joe Rogan, she would have won." It's not. It's so much deeper than that. And the unwillingness for a guy like that to even have the common courtesy to attack someone and not have the decency to say, you know what, why don't you have a chance to come on? Let's have a civil dialogue. I've watched you on podcasts with like Sean Ryan, who's a close buddy of his. He had the courage on me have 4 hours.
Right.
Sean Hannity, folks like that. And so if I can go on Sean Ryan and Sean Hannity, what are you worried about? Joe, you're going to cook me or I'm going to cook myself.
Oh, man, I'm over it, he says. And then he goes on a 1-minute rant. By the way, Fairness 2020, thank you so much for the $10 locals chat. You were watching over there on locals. Thank you, Fairness 2020. And you've been entered into the raffle. And speaking of the raffle, it is for this beautiful handmade cross by our good friend Mike, who donates these to us to help us out with the show. So the way it works, this is one of the items. Check that out. It is beautiful. Take a look at that right there. And again, we are doing this raffle tomorrow, so you got less than 24 hours to get in. And then you'll get one of 2 of the light up hats. You choose either, it's got the Trump, it's got the 4547. This one is the MAGA, and I'll show you that. It lights up. Let's see here. I got to do this. You got that one. And they have 7 different modes. You can turn them on. So I might have left this one on. Nope. So one of them is on talking. So every time I talk, it'll light up. So if you listen to hip hop and you out in the club and you want your Trump hat on, so you get to choose from one of those and the cross. And the way it happens is if you donate to the Oreo Express through our donation links, if you donate through the Oreo Express, through the donation links, in $10 increments. So if you do $10, that's 1 entry. If you do $30, that's 3 entries. And, hold on. There we go. And, so if you guys want to jump in, we're doing the drawing tomorrow live on our show. Well, I was going to say it's today. No, tomorrow's Wednesday. Live on our show. So if you guys want to get in, Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com /Oreo 2024. That's GiveSendGo.com /Oreo 2024. Or if you do online or mobile banking and want to do a Zelle transfer to us through your banking, we can do that. Our Zelle address is purepatriot559 @yahoo.com. That's PURE Patriot 559 @yahoo.com. And we will be raffling that off tomorrow. I want to say thank you to everybody who's jumped into the raffle. We appreciate you. Again, we're getting close to the beginning of the month. And so bills are due. And it's an honor and a blessing to be able to do this. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody that helps us out, everybody that hits that like button, just part of the Oreo Army. We appreciate you. So Fairness 2020, you're in for one over there on locals. What else do we got? Gavin Newsom again. So you're not going to believe this, but this is coming from multiple Democrats. Donald Trump is being criticized right now for being the president. What I mean by that, he's out of the country meeting with foreign leaders. You had Chuck Schumer today say, oh, Trump's over there dancing on the tarmac in Malaysia. Like, that was one of my most favorite videos of Trump, to be honest with you. Like, you go to a foreign country, they roll out the red carpet, and you're out there dancing with their team. And he's had a great meeting. He's had a great meeting. A lot of good things have happened. He's met with multiple leaders. And even Gavin Newsom says, Donald Trump is out of the country while he allows American citizens to starve. And the article he shares is food banks brace for overwhelming demand as SNAP cutoff looms. Growing needs and decreased resources are squeezing the charitable food system beyond its capacity. What did we say when all this went down? We told you this would be exactly what Democrats wanted for their photo op. And I'm going to cover it in a minute, but for the 13th time since this government shutdown, Democrat, once again, about 35 minutes ago, decided they didn't want to give SNAP benefits to American citizens. They didn't want to help them out with their food problem, their food shortages. So they voted again today not to reopen the government. This is after yesterday we covered unions coming out and saying, hey, one of the largest workers' union for federal employees came out and said, just pass the clean resolution and negotiate the other stuff. Don't hold our employees, the American people, hostage. But guess what? That's exactly what Democrats are doing right now. We got a lot on this today, or a little bit. This is the National Air Traffic Controllers Association President Nick Daniels. Listen to what he said.
We need you to stand up, and we need you to say, enough is enough. Shut down day in and day out.
Here we go. We know air traffic controllers aren't being paid.
That's now the life of an air traffic controller. The people tasked with making the impossible possible are having it made impossible by not paying them again. So the message is simple. In the shutdown today, there is no excuse that these hardworking men and women are showing up to do this job and to not ever know when they're going to get paid again. So we need America's help. We need you to stand up, and we need you to say, enough is enough in this shutdown and ensure that we can move this forward, because we do not want to be up here telling you the sad stories. We want to be up here telling you how we're moving this system forward, how we're bringing in more air traffic controllers than ever, how we're modernizing this system to, serve the American people. So again, cannot stress enough. If you want to take action, contact your congressional representative and tell them in the shutdown today.
In the shutdown, you had the federal workers union yesterday, and CNN and some other talking heads were out there. Is this going to change? No, Democrats don't care. It's just like every 4 years, all of a sudden, black people matter to Democrats. They don't matter the entire term. And then, it's election time. Let's go pander and speak a little differently in black communities. They don't care. They don't care. It's just, it is sickening. Rep Jimmy Gomez, again, not understanding why. I don't know. Maybe we need to explain the reason why SNAP benefits run out is because of the government shutdown. All it is a continuing resolution to fund the government the same way it's been funded to March, which includes SNAP benefits, without any pork from either side. Republicans didn't add anything into this. It's a clean CR. But I guess he doesn't know that it was his party that just voted for the 13th time. Says in 5 days, SNAP benefits will run out for 42 million Americans. The crisis is completely avoidable. You're absolutely right, Jimmy Gomes. It is avoidable. Stop holding the American people hostage for illegal alien health care. Our LGBTQIA programs overseas. It's not something that Trump was elected to fund. Those days are over. See what else? How about this? Elizabeth Warren for the first time in modern history, Donald Trump is shutting down SNAP. Just to let you know, Donald Trump doesn't have the power to shut down SNAP. Donald Trump has asked Democrats to reopen the government, said it's the right thing to do. So that way, SNAP is funded. And she says this means 42 million Americans will miss out on food assistance funds starting November 1st. It's exactly what it means. But the problem is, you just had an opportunity, your party had an opportunity to reopen the government 46 minutes ago. You voted no. You want to hold the American people hostage? You want starving children? And to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of SNAP. I truly am not. Again, like every government program, and I think we got a highlight reel, they're going to say there's no fraud in SNAP. I can drive you guys. I almost want to put a hidden camera on. And I'm looking around for what camera I have or something, wear my mic under my shirt and have the camera in the car. I can go drive right now to certain parts of Fresno where they sell EBT cards. 50%. So if there's $220 worth of groceries on there, you pay $110. I worked at a company back in the day where a lot of people out in the manufacturing plant, that's what they did. They didn't need that. They made decent money. Yeah, they had a lot of kids and stuff, but they would get whatever it was, $440 a month, and they would sell that for $220. So there's a lot of fraud. And there's also a lot of people that need the financial assistance. I mean, I look at it like this. The one thing I have a problem, and maybe some of you aren't going to agree with me. The one thing I have a problem with is Social Security. Why? Because my mom passed away a couple years ago. But my mom worked her ass off into her 70s. And did everything she could to provide for the family. I call it a sacrifice for this country, right? And they give you pennies to survive. They give you pennies. And I get it. It's not meant for Social Security for you to live a life of luxury. But if you have to be on Social Security, and I know people that are on Social Security. My mom didn't get food stamps, but I know people that are on Social Security, and they get all kind of government assistance programs on top of that. So you're telling me you paid into the system for 45 years for something they said would let you live comfortable at your retirement age. Social Security isn't working. I honestly think these cost of living increases, they're chump change. I mean, Social Security, if I ran for president, I probably wouldn't get a whole lot of votes because my thing would be like, so this woman right here that worked 45 years as a nurse or 45 years something, whatever. And I know we have 401k. But I'm just saying, you would think we would have like a 15% increase for these folks. 20% increase. I mean, if you look at what Social Security has done versus the pay. I mean, if you're working at Taco Bell here in California, your pays went up like 60% in 7 years. I just think it's a system that's flawed and failed. And it's been not only that, it's been a bucket of money for both Democrats and Republicans to steal from. And they should be held accountable. How about this one? This is Rep. Debbie Dingell. Let's see what she says because, again, they know they have the ball's in Democrats' courts right here, guys. Don't matter if House Republicans come to work. Doesn't matter what Marjorie Taylor Greene says. Doesn't matter anything. You know what matters? That Democrat vote to open up the government. Listen to this.
Do you think that now the Federal Workers Union saying enough is enough, just please reopen the government. Does that change anything? And I ask you, fully knowing that this remains a Senate story.
You know, I am talking to these workers every single day. I have been meeting with them. Let us be clear. They are hurting.
Do you
So Democrats aren't hiding the fact that these people are hurting. They're not hiding the fact. MSNBC, you know what? Yeah, I don't know if you caught it, but she said this is a Senate issue. Democrats are blaming House Republicans, Congress, who already passed the. Well, the House Republicans need to get back and negotiate. No, she just said it's a Senate issue. It's the Senate that's not voting to open up the House. And Chuck Schumer, here's another one. Chuck Schumer, this is their talking points, guy. You guys go on social media right now, and that's all Democrats are saying, that somehow they're trying to blame this on Trump. Millions of hungry families are about to lose SNAP benefits to buy food. There are and he says there are $5 billion in emergency funds that could be used right now to ensure parents and kids don't go hungry when SNAP runs out this Saturday. But Donald Trump has ordered not to use this funding. Do you believe that? Well, it's not true. It would take an act of Congress, once again, to use that money for that. Everything Trump says, he's not a king and he doesn't have the power to do it. And then when they want him to allocate $5 billion to something, well, Trump can do it. He could just raise his hand. Do you not see the hypocrisy here? And once again, Chuck, vote to reopen the government. It's that simple. How about Chris Coons is another one, another Democrat. We have seen them come out and says, yeah, it's hurting the American people, but this is the only leverage we have. That 6-year-old that's not getting nutrition next month, that 6-year-old that's not going to be eating regular meals, that 6-year-old that's going to school hungry, that's our leverage. Don't believe me? Listen to Chris Coons. Check this out.
Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage.
Our only moment of leverage.
And although a very unpleasant tool to use, Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And although a very unpleasant tool to use,
Crazy. How about this one? One of the Republicans, I love how we're playing some of the games they are. Listen to what he says maybe the reason for this shutdown was.
Everybody can see the split screen.
Check this out. What if he's right?
Communities from your federal workers? Have you not listened to your local communities telling you to stop the nonsense? No. You know what? They're not there. They're in New York City campaigning for Mondami. Maybe they've orchestrated this so that they had the time to go campaign. Maybe this was orchestrated so they could go do that. Now, this isn't the party of JFK anymore. This is the party of Schumer and Mondami, the party that bows to the radical left. I hope that everybody can see the split screen of what's happening in this country. The speaker has so eloquently talked about the fact that Republicans are doing our job to take care of families, that over 13 times the Senate Republicans have voted to fund our military, to fund TSA, to make sure our Border Patrol can get paid and all federal workers can get paid.
Possibly, maybe it wasn't orchestrated. I mean, they've been off in New York promoting a socialist communist. And we're going to cover a little more of that this afternoon. I know we covered some stuff yesterday, but there is some calls to deport Mamdani, that he lied on his application to get into the United States. I don't think it'll go anywhere, but we're 2 weeks away from having New York completely destroyed. Not that I'm a fan of Mayor Eric Adams. Not that I'm a fan of Cuomo. But, man, tough times we're in. How about this? Let's listen to Secretary Duffy.
Every day, 3 million people fly through the American airspace. We have 13,000 air traffic controllers to keep them safe. But today, those controllers don't get a paycheck because of Democrats' radical shutdown.
We got to shut this government down.
But Democrats, they're still getting paid. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Bernie Sanders, they don't have to worry about putting food on their table.
If Congress just said, we're not going to take our paychecks till we figure this out, that would be a noble step in the right direction. I would
think not everybody can afford to do. You got some young people there with kids.
Healthcare benefits for illegal immigrants, that's what Democrats are focused on, using air traffic controllers and government employees as leverage.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
The shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
This is impacting everyone. You're going to see more delays, more cancellations. Also, Democrats can hold our government hostage. This isn't a shutdown. This is a shakedown.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. They keep using that term leverage. Listen to Leader John Thune. This is from
But
earlier
Democrats
this
have
morning.
said no.
Take a listen.
That thing sitting at the desk, that government, doesn't have a single new Republican policy in it. It doesn't have a single partisan policy writer. It simply extends current government funding. But Democrats have said no to that now 12 times. We offered them a chance to continue the bipartisan appropriations process, starting with the defense appropriations bill, a bill that passed out of the committee by a big bipartisan vote of 26-3. But Democrats said no to that too. They didn't want to lose leverage in the shutdown. Then last week, we offered up a bill to pay any federal employee who was working during the shutdown, including everybody here. And once again, Democrats said no. Mr. President, I don't know what Democrats are holding out for. Do Democrats think that we're suddenly going to vote for their partisan CR? Which, by the way, would spend an additional $1.5 trillion to keep the government open until the end of this week. That's their alternative. $1.5 trillion to keep the government open until Friday. That's their alternative. It wouldn't pass here. It can't pass in the House, and it wouldn't be signed into law by the president. Our bill, on the other hand, as I said, has passed the House a month ago, has been sitting here for an entire month, and will be signed by the president immediately to reopen the government.
It's crazy what we're seeing right now. And we told you, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know Democrats. When we told you before Trump won, after he won, when we were at the inauguration, the exact tactics that Democrats would use to obstruct, to try to hurt the American people, to try to blame it on Trump. See, when Trump gets elected, or when you elect a Republican, look at the chaos in the streets. We got starving kids now. It's all Democrats. It's all Democrats. They're encouraging the violence on the streets. Over 1,000% increase in assaults on federal law enforcement officers, and they want to blame Trump, where he's on foreign deals. So here we go. This was about an hour and 20 minutes ago now. Senate Democrats just voted for the 13th time to take food out of the mouths of hungry children so they can give free health care to their illegal alien friends. Not anymore, guys. Not anymore. With all this going on, though, we covered a story last week. You see all the paid influencers from the DNC saying, oh, this is killing Trump. This looks bad on Trump. Let's see what our good friends at CNN says right here. Again, I don't go by polling. I use it as a talking point.
Now, we say their position is getting better, starting with Republicans. How has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin. It hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, and electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
Now, we say their position is getting better. With whom?
Yeah, okay, with whom? So I think it's two groups that it's so important to keep an eye on. All right, change in the Republican Congress's net approval rating versus pre-shutdown. It's rallying the base for sure. Look at this, the net approval rating up 12 points versus pre-shutdown. But it's not just with the base. It's also with the middle of the electorate. Look at this. Among independents, it's up 8 points as well. So we've got a situation here where Republicans with the shutdown are actually rallying their base, but it's also something that's not hurting them with the folks in the middle. If anything, it's helping them with folks in the middle. And this is the type of math that if you're Republicans, you like to see, right? Because something could rally the base, but alienate those in the middle, or something could rally those in the middle, but alienate the base. But the truth is, we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is the Republican brand has actually gotten better among independents, and it's also gotten better among Republicans as well, that Republican brand when it comes to those in Congress. So again, what's the electoral reason that Republicans would give in at this point?
And Democrats, of course, they have their eyes on the midterm elections. Yeah, we have elections 1 week from today, but what Democrats in Congress are mostly focused on are 1 year and 1 week from today from the midterm. So how how are they positioned right now?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, the generic congressional ballot, which traditionally Democrats have done really well on, and if you look at this point back when Trump was president the first time around, Democrats are up 11 points. Look at where it is now. Democrats are ahead, but they're actually only up 3 points. This is, in fact, the worst position Democrats have been on in a generic ballot at this point in midterm when there was a Republican president in the last 20 years. And this is no different from pre-shutdown. So Republicans aren't losing on this metric either. They become more popular, and they're actually in a pretty good position for them historically when it comes to the generic congressional ballot.
This is a
You know, Chuck Schumer's hating life, you know, Democrats. But we've learned through the last election where Trump won all 7 swing states, Democrats came to the table and they said, America don't like our policies. Americans don't like open borders, men and women's sports. What should we do? Double down. And they're going to double down on this, folks. They're going to double down on this. It's just absolutely crazy. Listen to, this was actually a pretty decent one on CNN when they're all triggered, but listen to all
they're doing the equivalent.
Listen to all the people cocking in the background.
What the Democratic Party is doing, they're doing the equivalent of a guy down at the Port Authority bus stop putting a gun to your head and saying, give me your money. That's what a shutdown is. It's brinkmanship. It's forcing a negotiation. We're here today. And I guarantee you would have said it's wrong if they do it. My 2 friends would say it's wrong. What we're asking Democrats to do is what Democrats said they should do time and time again. They voted for the clean CR 13 times. This is not new. They can vote for the CR. They can take the gun out of the head of the American taxpayers.
But let me just
they
say,
can take the gun out of the head of the 42 million people that are getting.
I've asked this.
Man, they're just losing on every battlefront. Especially, I think the base, when they showed that the previous poll with the base of the GOP up, that's because we're tired of caving. We're tired of giving in. You guys know bipartisanship for the last 20 years meant giving up freedom or independence. Oh, we met across the aisle. No, you didn't get nothing in return. Democrats got everything. And look at where we're at in our country because of it. And Steve Crowder put this up. I thought this was interesting because we talked about it yesterday. It says SNAP costs taxpayers $145 billion a year. Now, with the polling and the research they've done into SNAP, it says recipients spend twice what the average worker does on groceries. And this ain't talking about those people that actually need it. They get $46 a month, $38 a month. There's people getting $700, $800, $900 a month. And those recipients spent twice what the average worker does. And it says that's not helping the poor. It's rewarding the people who abuse the system. I have to agree. You had all these people upset because what was it? 25% of Coca-Cola sales came from SNAP. Sorry, Coke. How about this guy? Said this at the beginning.
SNAP benefit thing.
He ain't lying, and I think this is where you're going to see the anger.
I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. Like, the real reason why a lot of people are upset about this whole food stamps, SNAP benefit thing, bro, is because they're selling their food stamps, bro. They're selling them. I'm telling you, they are selling their food stamps, bro. You know how many people in New York and other states right now are going to the corner store, the deli, and they're selling their food stamps, bro? They're selling, that's why they're getting like $4,000, $3,000 in food stamps, and they're selling it for cash. They'll get $4,000 in food stamps, and they'll just take like $1,000 in cash. Like, bro, like that's happening like everywhere. That's why they're mad. That is exactly why they're mad right now. And you know, the thing about it too, they will never admit to selling their food stamps.
We talked about it. I said I can go down to spots in Fresno that are known historically for that. Just absolutely insane. And before we move on, we're going to talk about the auto pin, the scandal, the pardons that might be null and void now. But before I do, don't forget we have a raffle tomorrow. You got less than 24 hours to get in, so get in now. You have this is one of the items. So anytime you donate up until tomorrow to the Oreo Express, fund us. We pay lights, camera, travel. All the stuff is thankfully a blessing from you guys when you donate. So if you want to donate, you can get into the raffle, $10 increment. So if you do $10, that's one entry. $30, that's 3 entry for this beautiful cross right here. And it absolutely is made by our good friend Big Mike, and no, not Mike Obama. And then the other item, you will get to choose from one of these two. Let me pull this up really quick. So you got 2 light up hats here, Trump and MAGA. This one's on flash right now. The other Trump one is on whenever it hears something, it goes off. So you get to choose from either Trump or MAGA, and the cross will be delivered to you. We're going to pick a winner tomorrow. So if you guys want to get in, we appreciate it. You can get in through Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. And as always, we have, if you do mobile or online banking, we have our Zelle link. Our Zelle link is purepatriot559@yahoo.com. That's PURE Patriot559@yahoo.com. And we'll be doing this tomorrow during the live stream. And you don't get another chance to get in today unless you are a Rumble Premium member, because the next show this afternoon will be on Rumble Premium. So right here it says breaking. Let's see, which one do I want? The U.S. House Oversight Committee has deemed all of President Biden's executive actions null and void, including pardons performed by White House staff and signed by AutoPin. Congressman James Comer says, "We are calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to conduct a thorough review of these executive actions and scrutinize key Biden aides who took the fifth to hide their participation in the cover-up. The D.C. Board of Medicine must also review the actions taken by President Biden's physician to hide his true condition. We have provided Americans with transparency about the Biden autopin presidency, and now there must be accountability. And it also came out, AG Pam Bondi announced that the DOJ is investigating to nullify Biden's pardons and order on orders that use the auto pin after this report. Take a look at this video that they put out here. It's kind of a long video, but take a look at it. Circle. This was from the House Oversight Committee this morning.
Was the number one issue in the campaign the president's fitness or his age? Did you ever see President Biden in a wheelchair?
I do not recall ever seeing President Biden in a wheelchair.
And new information now on the people in his inner circle and how the cover-up actually operated.
Senior aides that worked here until just a couple months ago, the beginning of this year, manipulating an ailing president for their own gain.
How much were you paid for your role in the campaign in 2024?
Just a little bit short of $4 million.
I'm sorry, how much?
$4 million.
You believe that the president should stay in the race. Your own financial stake in the matter was a factor in any way in your advice to the president.
I don't believe that.
And when it comes to President Biden's decline, the official word from Biden world about all these news stories is that nothing has been revealed this week that shows that President Biden was anything but an effective president.
Yes, I noticed that he was aging in terms of his physical condition. I noticed that, he shuffled more.
That he has more stumbling over words and gaffes than he did at the beginning of the term.
His rhetorical skills were not as strong as they had been, and his speeches were less effective, I thought.
We talked about age. We knew it was an issue, and we tried to design a strategy.
We had a discussion at the senior advisor level about whether the president should have a cognitive exam.
Flashback now to the legacy media's complete denial of the president's cognitive decline.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't.
He is just fine. How people interpret that is up to them.
We're watching the testimony of this woman here, Annie Tomasini. She's the former senior advisor to President Joe Biden. She was the third person set to appear before James Comer's committee. She has now taken the fifth. There is now a pattern of key Biden confidants seeking to shield themselves from criminal liability for this potential conspiracy.
Were you ever told to lie about the president's health?
The advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Dr. O'Connor has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Dr. O'Connor, did you ever believe the president was unfit to execute his duties as president?
And we can tell you that he will have the same answer with respect to any questions that are asked.
Did any unelected official or family member of President Joe Biden execute the duties of the presidency? Did Joe Biden, a member of his family, or anyone at the White House ever instruct you to lie regarding his health?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the questions pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
And if that wasn't shocking enough, Dick Tapper claims Hunter Biden was basically acting like the chief of staff.
Hunter was driving the decision making for the family. He was almost like a chief of staff.
Did you notice an uptick ever when Hunter Biden was around?
Yes. Towards the end, I think he was living with the president.
They were lying not just to the public, they were lying to other Democrats.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Were you in favor of Hunter Biden getting a pardon?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Joe Biden if the allegations regarding his son were true?
No.
Ian Sams, who was the White House spokesperson, interacted with him 2 times. 2 times.
Well, I think it's really important to take the soundbite and understand the context.
How often would you say that you interacted with the president in person?
I interacted with him pretty infrequently. I think I met with the president a handful of times during my tenure in the White House. I got to say, that doesn't look anything like the president that I know. When I deal with him, he's sharp. He's asking tough questions. That's the President Biden that so many of us experience every single day.
You don't think it's missing some context?
I don't.
So it raises serious concerns and serious questions about who was calling shots in the White House. If the White House spokesperson is being shielded from the President of the United States, who was operating the Oval Office?
Age wasn't an issue for you or for President Biden?
No, it was not a concern.
Do you think President Biden was fully in command that night during the debate?
I do believe that he was fully in command that night during the debate.
I knew it was very difficult to get past some of the visual things that were causing people concern about the president's speech.
The voters' concerns about President Biden were wrong?
Yes.
He often would confuse names.
Do you think it got worse as you knew him?
Yes.
Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am.
I did not have the experience that it took him longer to answer a simple question.
He could stumble. He also stumbled some physically.
What is it you think?
It was something that we did not coin. It was something that the media coined.
Did you or did anyone ever verify if the videos you were talking about were, in fact, cheap fakes?
I believe so.
But there were instances where videos were circulated of President Biden appearing confused or freezing for a moment that were real, correct?
Not that I recall.
She told you this real video of Biden getting lost in an Italian field was fake. Now she's saying, yeah, my White House was broken and I'm switching parties.
And was suffering from a cold that really constrained his voice and constrained his ability to be forceful in the debate.
Do you attribute President Biden's performance that night to him being under the weather?
That's my assumption.
The ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies.
Have you ever seen him have a cold or the flu before?
Yes.
Did he ever behave the way that he did during the debate?
Not that I ever saw.
It was clear what he was trying to say.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
It was the people that knew he was cognitively impaired and that took over the auto pen. They stole the presidency of the United States.
Do you know who the people who were actually operated the auto pen were?
I do not.
Do you know any of the actual staff who were using the auto pen?
No.
You don't know their names?
No.
Have you never seen a decision memo laying out the breakdown of when the president should hand sign a particular set of documents?
Not prior to prep.
Did he hand sign all executive orders?
He did not. He hand signed many executive orders, but he did not hand sign all executive orders.
Can you read your response?
I approve the use of the auto pen for the execution of all the following pardons. Thanks, Jay-Z.
Did you yourself write this email?
I do not believe I did.
That auto pen was used excessively, and yet no one can say for certain that Joe Biden was given the orders to use the auto pen.
We've been pretty transparent from the very beginning with providing information as it occurs throughout this process.
That we anticipated that her report was going to come out, and that we didn't feel an entire interview before the Super Bowl talking about classified documents was going to help the cause too much.
I think you can question the validity and the legality of those pardons and executive orders, and that's huge.
But the president is absolutely sharp, fit, on top of his game.
So they're just making up lies to attack the president.
But do you think his mental acuity had declined?
I've told you guys this. We've covered the auto pin scandal for a while now. There's some big names on there. Anybody that was involved with the J6 Unselect Committee the fake sham committee that went after patriots, went after Trump. Definitely people that were involved with the COVID cover-up. Those are my top two right now. Those are my top two. There's more, but those are my top two. I would love to see Fauci in a jumpsuit spending the rest of his life in prison for what he did to the American people. And I just kind of pray and hope that this does go somewhere. I'm not gonna hold my breath. You know, as a Republican, we get very used to strong worded letters. Well, look at so-and-so broke the law so egregiously. Okay, if I break the law egregiously, I go to jail. If a Democrat breaks the law egregiously, nothing happens. So we're going to have to see how all this plays out. But with all this is going on, what do you think CNN's talking about? Trump had a doctor's visit. What's wrong with him? I'm not even making this up. Take a listen
from the American
to this,
public
guys.
about
Take
how
a
the
listen to
president, this one or any other, is healthy or not, is because we had a president.
White Houses before. This is always a little bit of kind of like a mystery when presidents go into the doctor and they don't say why. But with Trump, it's gotten more frequent. And let's be honest. I mean, Trump is older, and there are things that are going to happen to his health. The question is, will the White House be transparent about it?
Right. And he has a doctor that's always happy to say that his health is amazing. And we know that there's no transparency. Listen, I don't think that there was much transparency during the Biden years either about his health, as we all know and saw. So the presidents feel like their health is connected to their power, right? They don't want to show any weakness. And there is the perception that, you know, if they're not fit, it could hurt their mandate, and he has another year.
The reason why we're having this conversation, and the reason why there is a distrust from the American public about how the president, this one or any other, is healthy or not, is because we had a president who covered up his own health decline, and you had people, enablers, I won't say who.
Some of them were hauled into Congress.
Some people.
These guys are both in their 80s.
And we saw the physical decline of a physical decline of a human on live television who couldn't handle a set of stairs. And the Democratic Party and his apologists told us that he was fit as a fiddle.
By the way,
he's fit as a fiddle. He's sharp as a tack.
Okay, let's flip that for Trump.
He has to have Nancy Pelosi's name on a note card because he couldn't recognize Nancy Pelosi, but he's sharp as a tack.
Okay, Trump is just a year or two younger than Biden. Let's watch him in a year or so, okay? Because when you get old really fast.
I get it. We saw it on Joe Biden.
And then we'll see.
Trump challenged AOC to an IQ test. Let's do it.
Joe Biden was very old. And you know what? People covered it all the time. And it was the number one conversation everyone had about him. He was old. I totally get that. But I think it's a little ridiculous when a guy who's talking about having a third term is hiding his MRIs from the American public.
He's not hiding his MRIs. He literally spoke to the American people and said he had an MRI.
They have to find something where there's nothing there. I'm just going to tell you this, guys. I told you, it's not easy not having health insurance. You guys know that. And I can promise you, if I was a billionaire or a millionaire, I would get MRIs just for the hell of it. Like, I heard my buddy John had some cancer on his lung. You know, I'm going to be on the safe side. You guys do all kind of tests to make sure, because I want to live. But what's just amazing is how they all covered up for Joe Biden. He's as sharp as a tack. He's at the top of his game, and we're sitting there like, how is there not people outside of CNN with pitchforks? Like, and I'm not talking about conservatives. We know Joe Biden wasn't sharp as a tack. But why isn't their own people coming against him and saying, hey, whoa, be a little bit truthful? It's crazy. I don't know. Is John Yarder in here by a chance? If John Yarder, I forgot to say at the beginning, tell him to check his email. I'm trying to go back and forth with him on something. And I've sent 2 emails off, and I sent the last one off on Friday, and I haven't got a response. I don't know if I'm going into spam. So when you guys see John Yarder, he's usually here in the afternoon ones. If you are here, John, double check your email, your spam box. I need to get something taken care of with you, bud. You're going to the principal's office. Now he's not going to check his email. How about this? Mike Johnson talking about the pardons. House Speaker.
Yeah, back row. Yeah.
On the auto pen investigation and the Oversight Committee's report that was released this morning, some Senate Republicans have suggested that perhaps there isn't a legal avenue to void the pardons that were signed by by the auto pen, these executive authorities. Do you think that there is a legal avenue? That's what the investigation concludes, that any of those executive actions that were signed by the auto pen or the Biden administration should be void. Do you think that's possible?
Nothing this incredible and insane has happened before. This was not something that the forefathers anticipated. It's unprecedented. There is no legal precedent because no previous president had an auto pen or had the audacity to have people signing things on their behalf when they didn't even know what was in it. And so we're in uncharted waters as a nation. As we say up here all the time, we're so tired of making history. I just want normal times, normal Congress again. But the Biden administration was unprecedented in so many ways, and the president was checked out of his job for quite some time, and everybody knows it. And there was a cover-up. The people around him who were they would give him scripts to follow. They would point him literally in the direction, stand here, sir, wave like this. And he didn't know what he was signing. So there's all sorts of just incredible implications. It sounds like a terrible novel or something, but this is reality. And so the pardons, for example, he pardoned categories of violent criminals and turned them loose on the streets. And he didn't even know what the categories were, apparently, much less the individual people that he pardoned. They're invalid on their face. I mean, I used to be a constitutional law litigator. I would love to take this case and go into the courts and make that law to set the precedent. You can't allow a president to check out and have unelected, unaccountable, faceless people making massive decisions for the country.
You know, again, we got to pray that something happens. We got to get some of this stuff fixed. This is another thing he said about that. Take a listen.
This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. Our House committees have continued to conference together and do all the work we can to ensure legislation is ready for the floor for action as soon as we get back to legislative session. The House also continues to carry out its essential oversight duties. And you'll be reporting on this all day, but the Oversight Chairman James Comer released a blockbuster report now on the Biden auto pen presidency. And this report includes 47 hours worth of transcripts and testimony revealing that every executive action signed by the auto pen without written authorization from President Biden should be voided. This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. The actions of President Biden simply were not all his own actions. And there are major implications to that, including all the pardons that he signed. But don't get me started. Okay, our House committees have continued to conference.
Maybe something will come out of it. I'm not going to hold my breath, but it's exactly what we've been saying. And then last night, I seen an article from Bill Malugin from Fox News, and I started reading into it about a shakeup with ICE and Border Patrol and the leaders of ICE. And he did a Fox segment I want to show you. I've read all this already. We're going to talk about it. We do have record numbers of deportations under President Trump, but it's not fast enough. We're spending a lot of money on this deportations. The one big, beautiful bill hired a lot of ICE agents, and President Trump wants to double and triple the numbers overall. Listen to this right here.
And a shakeup of leadership at ICE is now underway. The Trump administration replacing many senior leaders with Border Patrol officials amid a push to ramp up deportations. Bill Malugin has all the inside scoop on this, and we go to him now. Hi, Bill.
It's Dana. So this is a massive overhaul of ICE leadership. I'm told by 4 senior DHS officials that they're removing up to 12 ICE chiefs from around the country from their positions and reassigning them. I'm told this is a move spearheaded by Corey Lewandowski, and it's all in an effort to boost deportation numbers, which are already at more than 500,000 since President Trump took office. So here's what we're talking about. Some of the ICE leadership positions being removed are the heads of ICE here in Los Angeles, in San Diego, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Seattle, El Paso, New Orleans, and Denver, just to name some of them. I'm told some of their replacements will be Border Patrol officials hand-selected by Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, whose aggressive and sometimes controversial tactics to arrest illegal aliens have elevated him within the Trump administration. Now, this is significant because Border Patrol and ICE do very different things, and we've embedded with both agencies multiple times. When we're with ICE, they are typically doing targeted enforcement of criminal illegal aliens, always knowing who they are arresting beforehand and often doing hours of surveillance to try and learn the target's schedule. Now, Border Patrol has been much more aggressive. They conduct roving patrols and raids at places like Home Depot, car washes, and flea markets, pretty much arresting anyone they suspect is in the U.S. illegally. Now, replacing ICE leadership with Border Patrol officials signals the Trump administration wants deportation efforts to get much more aggressive, with one Border Patrol source telling Fox, quote, "What did everyone think mass deportations meant? Only the worst?" Tom Homan has said it himself. Anyone in the U.S. illegally is on the table. Now, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin wouldn't confirm the personnel shakeup in a statement to Fox, saying in part, quote, "While we have no personnel changes to announce at this time, the Trump administration remains laser focused on delivering results and removing violent criminal illegal immigrants from this country." And Dana, a senior Trump administration official, did confirm these personnel moves to Fox, adding that there was a big widespread review of ICE leadership after the One Big Beautiful Bill passed. And I'm told these changes were made based off who the administration feels can execute a mass deportation agenda with all of that added money and staffing coming from that bill. More to come.
All right, Bill Maloogian.
So I think that was pretty accurate reporting. The way they talk about ICE doing targeted arrest. I have someone in my family that called me last weekend, happened to be at the airport, and said that ICE did a targeted arrest on somebody who had just landed. Two guys walked up to, it was an Indian gentleman, and pretty much said, they were standing right next to him, "Hey, we don't want you to make a scene. We're going to be taking you into custody right now." They had some folders with them. ICE works on more, and I wouldn't say high level, but more of the extreme criminals, the people that have warrants out for them, the people that continue to violently reoffend. ICE is really good about that, where Border Patrol on the spectrum is anybody in the country illegally, which is a crime, by the way. And we knew this was going to come down at some point. And I think the shakeup is it's going to fire up the left, but what doesn't fire up the left? Take a listen to this, too. This was Tom Homan.
But as far as personnel changes, that's under the purview of the Secretary of Homeland Security. I think we're not going to be slowed down by any story about changes in leadership. I can tell you that Trump administration is dedicated to achieving a record deportation, that vast majority being criminal aliens, making this country safer every day. But as far as personnel changes, that's under the purview of the Secretary of Homeland Security. I met at the White House and worked with people like Stephen Miller, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, to come up with strategic policies and plans, how to get success, how to maintain success, and how to get the numbers even higher.
Look, Fox News has been...
I think we're not going to be slowed down by...
Not going to be slowed down. Not going to be doing anything like that. Speaking of Gregory Bovino, that the person in command of Border Patrol, we shown a video that was falsified, or at least what the context was falsified, where he had just been hit with a rock, and he deployed tear gas. And that's because the left is taking them. They don't want them to be able to protect themselves. They don't want Border Patrol to be out on the streets. They want people interfering. We have activist judges. Well, we told you on Friday that he was due to appear in court this morning. And somebody put this out here, obviously not somebody on our side, but I'm going to read some of what happened in court today. And now the court is forcing him to check in every day like a child. I'm going to go through this with you. It says, Ellis is calling Bovino to the witness stand. It says U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino is on the witness stand in the courtroom of U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis. He is wearing his typical Border Patrol uniform. Ellis begins by talking about the oath that she and Bovino have taken upon entering public office. Ellis says, my role is not to tell you that you can or cannot enforce validly passed laws by Congress. That's not my role. My role is to simply see that that any enforcement of those laws is done in a manner consistent with your obligation under the law. Ellis said she wants to go through her TRO with Bovino because it's either unclear or it wasn't read or it was read and ignored. Given the fact that you and I took essentially the same oath, I know option 3 is not something that just wouldn't happen. It says the judge is now walking Bovino through the TRO, and she says section 1A means essentially that you've got to leave journalism alone. If they're doing their job, they need to be left alone to do their job. It says Bovino is just sitting and listening to Ellis so far. No obvious reaction, no commentary. Ellis says kids dressed in Halloween costumes walking to a parade do not pose an immediate threat to the safety of a law enforcement officer. They just don't. Again, no reaction. Ellis says, I also know I'm not there. I'm not out in the streets. I'm here, but I'm getting videos. It's difficult for me to see that the force being used is necessary to stop an immediate and seriously threat of physical harm to a person. It says, the judge then says, there was a little woman in a little village who was pulled to the ground and arrested, that she had someone sitting on top of her car with her knees in her back. And the video did not appear to show she was posing an immediate threat. It says Ellis gets to the requirement that the agents give 2 warnings ahead of tear gas. This has been consistent theme through all the plaintiffs' filing, is that there was no warning given. It says that they must tell people when they're going to do before they do it, so the people have opportunity to comply. It said Bovino just continually sat there and listened. Ellis finally asked a question. Where are agents supposed to put their star number or whatever number is? Bovino, I instructed all agents under my command to conspicuously to place identifier conspicuously somewhere on their uniform. Ellis says she wants to agree with Bovino right here and now on a place that an identifier to appear on the agent's uniform. Bovino says he would like a couple of options. The judge then said, why don't we say that the identifier needs to be in a conspicuous location, at least 2 places? Is that fair? Bovino said, can we have in a conspicuous location? Ellis seems willing to go along with that. She says she's not trying to micromanage. She wants to make it easy for agents and for herself when I'm looking to see whether there's a violation. Bovino says, yes, ma'am. Ellis tries to confirm with Bovino that Border Patrol agents here have body cam. Bovino says, I believe a vast 99% do. I think there is a few that don't have them issued to them yet. It says, I would like you to do your best to ensure everybody who's operating under the Midway Blitz operation that they have all body-worn cameras. He says, yes, ma'am. Bovino told her the issue with making sure everybody has body cam is getting the equipment and dispersal of the equipment, but Ellis is explaining how the camera is your friend. Ellis asked Bovino if he has worn a body-worn camera. Bovino says, I don't, ma'am. No, I've not received a body-worn camera or the training. Ellis says, how about Friday? You get a camera. Ellis brings up the tear gas that Bovino deployed in Little Village. It says Bovino nods. Ellis, again, a warning has to be, I'm going to deploy tear gas if you don't do whatever it is. A warning has to include what it is that you're going to do before you do it. The judge also says people need to have time to comply. Ellis asked Bovino if he'd agree that the allegation against the agents on their face suggests they violate her honor. Bovino said, well, Your Honor, I believe that each situation is dependent on the situation. And, I would like to know more about what happened. It says the question above did not relate to Bovino's use of tear gas. Ellis is running through various allegations that have been made against multiple agents in multiple incidences. Ellis on the use of tear gas Saturday. That was an instance as well where children were present and they were dressed up in their Halloween costume. Those kids were tear gassed on their way to celebrate Halloween in their local school parking lot. It says these kids, you can imagine their sense of safety was shattered on Saturday, and it's going to take a long time for that to come back, if ever. She said it should have been a really happy day. Ellis asked Bovino if they're on the same page. Bovino says, I understand what you're saying, Your Honor. But Ellis presses again. I think we're on the same page, correct? Bovino, we're on the same page that we will abide by the TRO. Ellis tells Bovino she wants all use of force reports since 9/2 by the end of the day. Ellis asked for body-worn camera footage. Bovino asked for more time due to the sheer amount of those reports. I think it would be physically impossible to get them to you here in just a few hours. They agree she'll have them by the end of the week. Ellis tells Bovino she wants to see him in person every day at 4:30 p.m. until the preliminary injunction hearing set for 11/5. This man is the commander of our Border Patrol. I don't hear one judge questioning or going after these people that are obstructing. These people that are aiding and abetting, these criminal, violent, illegal aliens that this man is out there to protect our country, to serve our country, and to protect us from those folks that shouldn't be in the country that are here illegally. To me, this is laughable. And it's funny because he's just sitting there nodding. Like, yeah, okay, I'm in court. Yep. All right, let's go. I got a job to do, ma'am. Never once was there anybody in the Biden administration that was allowing 10,000 criminal, illegal aliens into this country, some from prisons, some from mental institutions. Never did anybody have to answer for that. This is a radicalized judge. Bovino tells her 6 p.m. would be better, and she says, I'll see you tomorrow at 6. Bovino says, what about the weekends? Do we meet here on weekends? And Ellis says, we won't meet on weekends. I would make that judge go in there on the weekend. Wouldn't you? Ellis told Bovino, I will let you get back to work. He's done, and he's left the courtroom. It says a DOJ lawyer immediately asks for the stay and tells the judge they want to consider appellate options. Ellis won't grant the stay. I'm not going to stay Mr. Bovino's deposition. She notes she didn't ask in-depth questions today about any of the incidents that have been alleged. It says Ellis offers to delay the preliminary injunction hearing again. It's 11/5, November 5th. Plaintiff says they'll agree if DOJ agrees to extend the TRO. The DOJ lawyer then says, I think we'll keep the hearing date. That is crazy. And then it says the judge brings up the request to ban the use of tear gas in the meantime. And DOJ lawyer tells her the record will ultimately show that the gas is being used to enable agents to meet safely and in highly volatile situations. I mean, we've seen these videos. It's just absolutely nuts what's going on in this country. Oh, man. I'm telling you. Hey, guys, don't forget we are it's all falling. We are 100% viewer funded. And if you donate to the Oreo Express before tomorrow we're having a raffle. You have a chance of getting some goodies. One of them is this beautiful handmade cross by our good friend Mike that donates this to the Oreo Army. And thank you, Mike. Thank you for your support. This right here is absolutely beautiful, handmade. The same guy that made our Oreo Army cross in the back. And also you'll get to choose from one of these hats. They light up. Let me do the light up thing really quick. See it turned on. Check this out. You have this one's on flash right now. This one is going to my voice on the right. So you get to choose one of these hats, whichever one you want. And that cross right there, we want to say thank you for everybody who has donated. Every $10 donation gets you entered once. So if you do $30, you get 3 entries. And again, just want to say thank you for helping us out, getting us with some bills we got to pay. If you guys want to enter, it's Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $ Oreo Army. We also have our Give, Send, Go, really simple and easy to use, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And we have also, if you guys do mobile or online banking, we have a Zelle link. That link is going to be coming out as we exit the show right now. We will be back at 3 o'clock Pacific today for our second show, which will be a Rumble only show. So if you're watching anywhere else, make sure you jump on Rumble at 3 o'clock. If you haven't followed us on Rumble, follow us on Rumble at Oreo Express. And want to say thank you to you all. Those donation links are coming up right now. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. And usually I do because it doesn't update quickly enough. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it says updated mailbox. So it should be good. But once again, thank you to everybody. And where's this right here? And I know we had one from Locals. Thank you so much, guys. And we will see you soon. Here's your donation links, guys. And thank you more than you know. Have a blessed afternoon.
Well, hop aboard the Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart.